Yet another case of horror on the highway, a woman miraculously surviving getting shot more than 30 times while driving on I-95 overnight.
Just awful. And that shooter remains on the run. Local 10's Rosh Lowe joins us live from the scene of that crime in Northwest Miami-Dade with more details. Rosh.
I'll tell you why this is such an important story. So many of us drive on I-95, and last year we saw it time and time again. Violence on the I, people being shot at, road rage, people losing their lives. And on the first day of the new year, we see it again. And you mentioned it. This woman is very fortunate to be alive. We're seeing this again, another case of gunfire erupting on I-95. This time, the victim, an adult female, was traveling northbound on the I in the area of Northwest 119th Street in a white Maserati. According to the Florida Highway Patrol, while traveling, a white sedan pulled up alongside the Maserati. And take a look at the car. The Maserati was shot more than 30 times, hitting the victim several times on the left side of her body. She exited I-95 and the white sedan continued traveling north on I-95. The victim taken to the Ryder Trauma Center, thank goodness, with only non-life-threatening injuries. But this is the latest in a string of disturbing shootings, many of them road rage. We had a case in late October where a man was shot and killed by someone on a motorcycle. Then we had the case of Anna Estevez, a preschool teacher who was shot and killed in Broward while she was driving back with her boyfriend from the Thanksgiving holiday, an arrest made in that case. And now we begin the new year once again with this image, a car riddled with bullet holes. And we're working this afternoon to get more information on the victim in this latest case, and it's worth mentioning again, absolutely incredible that she was able to survive this. You saw the images, shot at more than 30 times. In the meantime, if you have any information on this case, this is an active investigation with the Florida Highway Patrol. Pick up the phone and call Crime Stoppers in Miami-Dade. That number is 305-471-TIPS. For now, I'm live on the side of I-95 in Northwest Miami-Dade. Rosh Lowe, Local 10 News.
This morning with a crime alert, police investigating a deadly drive-by shooting.
They say someone drove up and opened fire on 4 people inside a vehicle. Trent Kelly live in Northwest Miami-Dade with those details from overnight.
Yeah, JC, Eric, in fact, you can see officers still blocking off the scene here behind me all these hours later. That's after we're told a drive-by shooting here left 2 people injured, with at least 1 person later dying. Let's take you out to some video now from last night, giving you a better look at the scene. All of this happening right off Northwest 151st Street near 6th Avenue, not too far from Biscayne Gardens Elementary. According to investigators, we're told 4 people were riding inside of a white car last night when someone in another vehicle started to open fire. Those bullets hitting 2 people inside that white car, including 1 juvenile who we're told was sitting in the front passenger seat, plus the adult driver. Both of those victims, we know, were transported to Jackson Memorial Hospital for treatment. Now, if we can, let's take you to a second piece of video now. In it, you can get a better look at that damaged car. Again, this is the car that we're told those four people were riding in. Again, 2 of those people were shot. You can clearly see the driver's side of that vehicle covered in bullet holes. Police telling us overnight that one of those 2 shooting victims died on the way to the hospital, but sources confirmed to Local 10 that the second victim has also died as well. At this point, no information has been released about the gunman in this case. We did ask investigators if this was a possible case of road rage, but they say at this point it is too early in their investigation to tell. Back out here live, another live look at the roadblock here this morning. This is right off Northwest 7th Avenue, again leading right up to Northwest 151st Street. I did hear Alexis talking about this a short time ago, but the exit onto Northwest 151st Street from I-95 northbound also closed off this morning, so you're going to want to make some alternate plans to get around that if you need to get here to this area. But again, according to sources and what we're learning from investigators overnight, a car with 4 people inside shot up during a drive-by shooting, with 2 of those victims now dead. We'll bring you any more information as soon as we learn it right here on Local 10. But for now, that is the latest live from Northwest Miami-Dade. I'm Trent Kelly, Local 10 News.
Developing right now, a deadly discovery at a luxury apartment building after a man and a 3-year-old little boy are found dead.
Police are calling it a murder-suicide. Let's go now to Local 10 News reporter Annalise Garcia.
She's live right now at that scene in Miami with the latest, and this is just heartbreaking.
Christy, Janice, an absolute tragedy here in Coconut Grove. This all happened in this building, Grove by Grand Bay, right behind me. And although we can't see an active scene here, it's very much underway behind these 4 walls. Detectives are actively investigating the apartment where this occurred. Now, we are just learning the name of the man who is accused of shooting his son, then shooting himself. Let's take you to his mugshot. This is Jose Manuel Gonzalez Destino. He was indicted for a bribery and money laundering scheme and expected to be sentenced very soon. That was back in 2021. His son's name was Jose Manuel Gonzalez. An apparent murder-suicide at Grove by Grand Bay Apartments in Coconut Grove. Miami police on scene for hours investigating a 53-year-old shooting his 3-year-old son before turning the gun on himself.
They're trying to determine what caused him to take his life, but not more than that, what caused him to take the 3-year-old's life, which is an innocent child.
A concerned family member called 911 Wednesday when they had not heard from the 53-year-old man and his child.
The family was just concerned because they hadn't heard from either of them in the day, and this is something that's not common.
Police say the mother of the child was not with them at the time of the incident.
The kid lived with the mother, but was staying with the father since Monday.
When police arrived to the upscale Coconut Grove apartment building around 8 p.m. Thursday, they could not break down the door.
When it's a well-being check, we're not allowed to break down a door or call fire rescue to break down a door just to check on a well-being, unless we suspect that a crime has been committed, is being committed, and or that we see that somebody is in distress.
So a family member came and did it themselves.
The family member broke the door, and then we located the 53-year-old and the 3-year-old that were both shot.
A tragic situation, still so many unanswered questions. Miami police continue investigating. And here's another look at the mugshot of the 53-year-old again, Jose Manuel Gonzalez Destino. Again, in 2021, he was indicted for a bribery and money laundering scheme, and he was expected to be sentenced soon. We are still learning more about exactly what happened here, why this happened. As soon as we get any more information, we'll bring it to you. But for now, I'm live in Coconut Grove. Annalise Garcia, Local 10 News.
And deputies also investigating a shooting in West Palm. They found one person dead and another with non-life-threatening injuries inside a car on I-95 just south of 45th Street. A third uninjured person was in that car as well. That person telling deputies they were in the area of a plaza along North Military Trail where the shots were apparently fired. It's unclear what may have triggered that shooting. No arrests, though, have been made.
We're following breaking news right now near Boynton Beach. That's where a man has been shot by deputies.
They say the man was holding 2 knives, and Local 10 News reporter Roy Ramos joins us live from the scene with the breaking details.
And ladies, fortunately, no deputies were injured in any of this. As for the suspect who was shot multiple times, he has survived. In fact, he has since been released from the hospital. But still a very active scene right here behind me inside of the Boynton West Shopping Center. You can see that the entire area has been blocked off with crime scene tape. But I want to show you what this looked like when we first arrived here. We spotted crime scene techs processing the scene outside of a Firehouse Subs near Boynton Beach Boulevard and Military Trail. You could see several evidence markers on the ground after deputies said they were forced to shoot a man who was armed. Investigators said they first responded to the man in that shopping center holding 2 knives. When they asked him to put those weapons down, he refused and lunged at them. Well, we did get a chance to speak to Sheriff Rick Bradshaw about what happened next. Take a listen.
He stands up, he's got 2 knives, big ones, 7-inch blades. The first thing they do is told him, drop the knives, we want to talk to you for a minute. And he starts edging towards them a little bit. They ask him again, drop the knives, please. All of a sudden, he decides to charge the 2 deputies, coming right at him with the 2 knives. The first deputy fires 3 shots, hits him twice, and he goes down. The next thing the deputies did immediately was run over and start giving him first aid, applied some tourniquets, probably saved his life.
And that suspect, we are told, is in his early 20s. He was shot in the shoulder and the leg. He was transported to the hospital, but has again since been released. He's now on his way to the Palm Beach County Jail, where he will face charges likely charges that include aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer. As we gather more details on this, we'll be sure to let you know. For now, in Boynton Beach, Roy Ramos, Local 10 News.
Meantime, police are searching for the gunman who shot a teen in Lauderhill. That young victim underwent surgery this afternoon. Local 10's Joseph Ojo is live at Broward Health with much more. Joseph.
So as that search for the persons or people responsible for this early morning shooting does continue, we do know that shooting did leave one teen rushed here to the hospital where they had to undergo surgery after suffering multiple injuries.
Police descending upon a residential neighborhood after a Saturday morning shooting.
We did have a shooting involving a 15-year-old.
Our cameras rolling as crime scene investigators who were on scene for hours assess and collected evidence from the scene. Crime scene tape could also be seen blocking the area of Northwest 59th Avenue and 21st Street. Police tell us the shooting happened around 5 a.m. They tell us they got 2 shot spotter alerts in the area as well as several 911 calls in reference to this shooting. When officers arrived, they found a teenager who had been shot several times. Lauderhill Fire Rescue rushing the teen to Broward Health in Fort Lauderdale, where he would undergo surgery for his injuries.
We don't have any suspect information at this time, but if anyone has seen or heard anything, please contact the Lauderhill Police Department or contact Crime Stoppers.
On the same day, hundreds joined by city leaders and local police gathering for a peace walk to support victims of gun violence and call for an end to gun violence in Lauderhill.
And so that teen is said to be doing okay after undergoing surgery. What exactly did lead up to the shooting at this time is still unknown, but anyone with any information is urged to give Lauderhill Police a call. We're here in Fort Lauderdale. I'm Joseph Ojo, Local 10 News.
Trent, thank you. Developing now, an officer shot and killed a man early this morning in Orlando. Police say this all started as a drug investigation. Officials say when they approached the suspect in a car, the man made a move that looked like he was going for a gun, which caused the officer to shoot. The man died from his injuries. The police chief later said that no gun was found in the suspect's vehicle. Police have not released the name of the man who was killed.
Breaking overnight, 2 Orlando police officers hospitalized after a suspect allegedly shot at them during a traffic stop. The police chief confirming the officers were trying to stop a vehicle wanted in connection to a homicide investigation in Miami.
And now the hunt is on for the 2 men involved. Local 10's Trent Kelly, he's joining us now live from Miami with the latest on this case. Good morning, Trent.
Hey, good morning, Alex and Andrew. So we know this all started around 11 o'clock last night when officers in the downtown Orlando area tried to pull over a car that was said to be connected to a homicide case right here in the Miami area. But in the process of doing that traffic stop, that's when someone inside the car opened fire. As a result, 2 officers were sent to the hospital with a massive search for the suspect or suspects involved still continuing this morning.
We have 2 officers here at OMC who are in critical condition. This is a sad day for our department.
2 Orlando police officers fighting to stay alive in the hospital this morning after getting shot while stopping a car connected to a Miami area murder case.
We are right now actively looking for suspects. I want to thank the other agencies that are assisting us with this manhunt.
The double shooting happening around 11 last night in downtown Orlando as police were attempting to pull over a car.
Officers were investigating the vehicle wanted for a homicide in Miami. During the stop, the suspect shot 2 of our officers. The suspect then carjacked another car and a vehicle proceeded suit.
The 2 injured officers rushed to Orlando Regional Medical Center in critical condition as the massive manhunt for the shooter continues. The Orlando police chief sending this stark message to the person or people behind it.
For the suspects out there, we will find you and you will be brought to justice.
And so far, the name of that suspect or suspects involved in this case have not been released by investigators. So as of right now, it's still not clear which specific homicide case out of Miami this may be connected to. But again, those 2 officers that we know still in the hospital in Orlando, they're said to be in critical condition. And we are working to get more information on the suspect who police are still searching for. We'll keep you updated. For now, that is the latest live from Miami. I'm Trent Kelly, Local 10 News.
Now to new details this morning as we learn about a triple shooting in Southwest Miami-Dade. This is something that is still being investigated as a murder-suicide. A woman who died in the gunfire has been identified as Maria Cruz. Cruz was a math teacher at Doral Academy. Another man was shot before police say that the shooter then turned the gun on himself. All of this happening in the Palmetto Estates neighborhood in the area of Southwest 165th Terrace on Friday. No word yet on what led up to this shooting.
6:14 the time. 2 juveniles injured following a shooting during a football practice in Apopka last night. Police say they responded to calls about a shooting at the Field of Fame where 3 juveniles got into a fight on the football field, then carried that fight into the parking lot. That's when one of them reportedly grabbed a gun from the car and fired it, hitting 2 others. The victims were rushed to the hospital. They're expected to recover. Police arrested that shooter and they are investigating what happened.
We are following breaking news out of Fort Lauderdale where police are investigating a shooting.
Let's get right out to Local 10's Roy Ramos. He's at that scene. What have you learned out there, Roy?
Well, Christy, obviously this was very concerning for residents who live here in this area because they began to receive alerts on their cell phones of a gunman possibly on the loose. Now, fortunately, that was not the case, but several police officers did respond here to the Progressive Point building earlier this afternoon. Let's go and show you what this all looked like. From above in Sky 10, we spotted several marked units with Fort Lauderdale police lining Andrews Avenue near 6th Street after officers responded to reports of a home invasion at a unit in the Progressive Point apartment building. Now, on the ground, we could see units with crime scene, uniformed officers, and detectives walking out of the building. Investigators said it was just after noon. Several men entered the home and attacked a man living there. During the struggle, police said the victim was able to retrieve a gun and shoot one of the suspects. While the men took off before police arrived, a short time later, the suspect with a gunshot wound and another man arrived at Broward Health Medical Center where they were both taken into custody. But police say they are still searching for one additional suspect. As we come back out live, we can tell you that investigators say, again, this was an isolated incident. As for the victim in this case, at last check, he was listed in serious condition. For now, here in Fort Lauderdale, Roy Ramos, Local 10 News.
Okay, certainly glad it wasn't the active shooter situation they were fearing. Thank you.
We'll be on Local 10 surveillance video capturing the sound of the shot that an officer says he was forced to fire at. This is at a driver in Northwest Miami-Dade Friday night. All of this unfolding there. This comes after that driver allegedly pinned the officer against his own car.
Local 10's Trent Kelly joining us live in Miami with the latest details, including what we've now learned about that suspect. Trent.
Yeah, Andrew, Alex, this all started, as you mentioned, when police started chasing the driver of that car. But after he lost control and slammed into a pole, police say he continued to accelerate, eventually pinning that officer against his own vehicle. Now, both have been transported to Jackson Memorial Hospital for treatment, as we now see new video, which apparently shows the gunshots from that officer. Surveillance cameras capturing the sound of 7 gunshots after a Miami-Dade police officer opened fire at a suspect Friday night. It happened as the officer from the robbery intervention unit was chasing a white Dodge Challenger. The Dodge slamming into a power pole near Northwest 63rd Street and 21st Avenue. But as the officer walked up to the crashed car, the driver inside allegedly hit the gas, pinning the officer against his unmarked car and causing him to shoot.
The subject accelerated towards one of our officers, striking him and pinning him against his own vehicle. Our officer discharged his firearm, striking the subject.
Backup arriving in less than a minute. Cell phone video showing officers standing around the suspect, later identified as 38-year-old Virgil Bernard French. Cameras rolling at Jackson Memorial Hospital as paramedics transported French to Ryder Trauma in critical but stable condition. The officer also taken to the hospital but was later released. 40-year-old Charlie Harris, later identified as the passenger in that Dodge, police arresting him on an outstanding warrant for child abuse. And as for French, the driver of that car, he is now facing several charges, including attempted murder. That officer, by the way, who has yet to be identified by police, we're told he is now out of the hospital and recovering at home. For now, that is the latest live outside JMH in Miami this morning. I'm Trent Kelly, Local 10 News.